Today we will be able to graph tangent functions. Here's the equation. Y equals A tangent bx plus c. That should look familiar. It looks just like the sine and cosine equations, only it says tangent. Here's what tangent looks like when you graph it. It turns at the middle. So the amplitude for tangent is none. Why is the amplitude none? It obviously has height above and below the middle. Well, the amplitude is none because this graph continues to infinity as it goes up and infinity as it goes down, so there's no set height. So that's why the amplitude is none. The period is pi over b, not to be confused with the period for sine and cosine. Okay, period for tangent is pi over b. The middle is still at c. And one cycle of tangent is one of those things, is one of these. Okay, notice tangent starts up on the right, turns at the middle, and goes down on the left. If we're doing a reflection of tangent, the ups are going to go down and the downs are going to go up, so it'll be up on the left and down on the right. Okay, here's the steps. Find the amplitude, the period, and the middle. Draw your axes. Use a dotted line for the middle. Notice on my x-axis, it's divided into 3 parts on each side. The first and third part get the dotted line. The second part gets the period on the right and negative period on the left. Draw 3 cycles. If A is negative, reflect over the x-axis. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple for tangent. Alright, first example. Graph y equals 3 over 5 tangent pi over 4x. There's my A, there's my B, my C is 0. So the amplitude is none. The period is pi over b, so that's pi over 4. Remember, when you're dividing by a fraction, you flip the bottom and you multiply. So this is pi times 4 over pi. My pi's are going to cancel out, so that just leaves me with 4. In the middle is at 0. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my x and y axis. Divide my x-axis with 3 lines on the right, 1, 2, 3. 3 lines on the left, 1, 2, 3. Put a dotted line at 1 and 3. I'm going to put a dotted line at my middle. My middle happens to be 0 here, so here's my dotted line at the middle. And then on the second one, the second mark, on both the left and the right, I'm going to put the period and the negative period. So 4 and negative 4. And then I'm going to draw my 3 tangent curves, turning at the middle, turning at 0. And that's that. All right, let's graph this one. Y equals negative 2 tangent 4x. Okay, y equals negative 2 tangent 4x. There's my A, there's my B, my C is 0. So my amplitude is none. The period is pi over b, which is pi over 4. And that's all you have to do on that one. There's nothing to reduce. There's nothing to flip. All right, the middle happens to be at 0. But remember, this is a reflection. So when I draw it, instead of going up on the right, down on the left, it's going to be up on the left and down on the right. It's still going to turn at 0, though. So go ahead and draw your x and y axis. Dotted lines on 1 and 3. On 2, I'm going to put pi over 4 and negative pi over 4. I put a dotted line at my middle, which happens to be 0. And so here we go, drawing 3 cycles of tangent. In this case, because it's a reflection, it's up on the left and down on the right. All right, last example. Y equals 5 tangent 1 over 3x plus 2. This one's different because it has a middle other than 0. Okay, so here we go. There's my A, there's my B, and there's my C. My amplitude is none. The period is pi over b, so that's pi over 1/3. Remember, when you divide by a fraction, you flip the bottom and multiply. So it's pi times 3 over 1, which is 3 pi. And then my middle is my C, which is at 2. So go ahead and draw the xy axis. Put a dotted line at the middle, so I'm going to put a dotted line at 2 right here. Here's my middle. My period is 3 pi, so 3 pi and negative 3 pi. Alright, so what's the difference? How is this going to look different? Well, this time when my graph comes in, it's going to turn here at 2 instead of at 0. So it's going to look like this. It's still up on the right, down on the left. It just turns at 2 instead of 0.